Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another airbrush step by step. Today's picture we're doing the King, Elvis Presley. Yesterday we did Marilyn Monroe and we're going to do this one the same today in a monotone. So we're working with the FW Inks Payne's Grey and my flow improver is isopropanol. Straight in with isopropanol and put loads of it in. A few drops of ink to loads of ISO. Really thin it out. Same bottle as we used yesterday, got plenty left, so that'll be enough to do today's portrait. This image is projected up, it's around 8.4 and I've filled it up to the A4. Light penciled out image, just basically went round very lightly and just put all the key points in where the highlights will be for the hair. Background, this has got like a dark background to it, so what we can do, we can paint all this in and then put the background in, or we could mask, put some masking on and then cut the masking out, cover Elvis up and paint the background in that way. I'm just going to paint Elvis first and then drop a bit of background in because it's just sort of like a dark tone to the background, but you'll see that as we paint it. The brush I'm using today is the same one as yesterday. It's the Infinity Giraldez on a 02. I've done a couple of changes to it. I've just changed the trigger over. I find the Evolution 2024 trigger fits in the body perfect. It's a lot smoother and just more responsive with the Evo trigger in. And I've put a Grapho back end on it, which is a solid back end instead of having a cutaway. I just find it a lot more comfortable to your hand when you hold the brush. Everything else is as you'd get it out the box. So that's the brush we're using. Other bits, same piece of paper to the side as what I'm painting on, so I can test the brush like I did yesterday. I think we're covered. We'll move in. If there's anything else, I'll just chat to as we paint it. So let's crack on with Elvis. Right guys, ready to make a start. I'm gonna put a few drops of my Payne's Grey ISO mix in. Test to the side. And you can see that is really thin. Brush is working great. And we're good to go. So I'm going to start straight in on the eyes, always sort of start around near the eyes. And just go in nice and light and just start to work the eyes in. And just build it up. You can see how light this is going down. Very light. Follow the reference where you see it. Where you see it really dark, don't go dark straight away. A lot of people will see the real hard dark and just go in light. Literally, where you see a very dark bit, just go really light and just build it up. That's all you've got to do. Let's do a little bit down the nose. I'm just tinting down on this very lightly. build it up. Like that, I'll do a little bit down this side of the nose. Move on to the other eye. Like that. And you work in minimal trigger. You've got the tiny little eyelashes. So as I say, where you see a real jet black dark line, just go in light for a start. And build it up nice and light. Eyebrow, tiny little dagger strokes. And if you work it this way, just go light and then just overlayer it, you'll get better results. You really will. Go a little bit darker in here. Darker on the eye. You just build it up, you just go back over and have another look and you'll see where it needs to go darker. Down the nose. Like that. A bit darker here. I'm just going to tint some over the face. Just literally going very, very light. And just back off with your brush. If you want it light, go minimal trigger and just back off. As though you work in detail, but you're just backing off. Like that, down to the nose. Dropping the dark drop shadow in first and then work up from that. You've got this crease that comes around here. Now to drop that in to get it a little bit darker and sharper, you can just use your shield on that. That. Just tint down from that. Go back in and darken the nose nostril up again. And that drop shadow. Once you put a pass in, then you just go over again. We can see where it needs to go darker. Start to tone it up, move on to the mouth. Coming round, round on the teeth. Like that. And keep an eye at the sharp bit here so you can put your shield in. Like that. Down the side of that mouth. Go nice and light. Minimal trigger. Like that, you got that drop shadow going across the mouth. Like that. A little bit of shading on the tongue. Move round to the drop shadow on the bottom of the mouth. Part of the lip just go nice and light. Like that. Back onto the drop shadow, darken that out. A little bit round the bottom of the face now. And just sort of working round. Toning it. Sideburns there, you've got this darker shadow coming here. A little bit darker under the where the chin is. And you can just gauge the creases that are coming up, and it's going a little bit darker here. Like that, back up to the nose, and put a bit more in there, darken this out here. Eyebrow, I'm going to darken this one off now. Going back in. Back up to this one. Darken it. Like that. That little crease a bit darker there. A bit more shape round on that cheek. Darken this crease out here. Like that. Back onto the drop shadow under the nose. Darken that. And you're just going back over, darkening the bits out. I'm going to do a little bit here. Darken this side of the nose off on the shadow. Like that. A little bit more on this. Yeah. Like that. Rub it in. Just drop this little bit of hair in here. Minimal trigger again. Just do a pass. that. Move down to this piece here where the collar is, just start putting this piece under here. A little bit of shading in here on the side of the neck. This is going to go a lot darker. So if you just break it down like this and just work round, lightly add in. And building it up. Nice and lightly. And you're backing on the eye. And you can see where you need to go darker when you just keep looking back at it. You just add. You're just going minimal trigger all the time. And building it up. Coming round here, we've got that. A bit more paint. So it's come together sort of really quick. We can still see the lines there. We can go a lot darker. Backing on this bit here. The inside of the mouth can go a lot darker. So you've just not gone too dark too quick. And that's where loads of people make the mistake of just going really dark really quick, and they just ruin it because they've got nowhere else to go. It's like wallop, they've done it. Just going to get the paint pen because I've got some little dot highlights. Just drop them in place. Just keep them there as a guide. The beauty of working really thin paint, you can really get detail like. And there's no tip dry yet. I've probably done that once where I've just done that. Hardly any tip dry. You're just working. That's what I like about using the ISO. It just works. It just instantly flashes off on the paper. You can just crack on. Just keep building it up. More around here. Like that. Darken this shadow out here. That's going to come all the way around there. there. Like that. On that, we'll move up to the ear. Let's see what we got here. Just going to drop a tone in on that. Just keep it right. Like that. It's going to go dark. Start the hair. The hair's going to take a few passes to get it really darkened off, but you can see how many passes I'm putting down there to get it to go really dark. Just keep going over and over. Around the back here. You're just literally working little sections in that bit. You know you've got a little strands of hair coming around now. Just build it up. Start working the hair in. Dagger strokes. Like that. Check your tip dry. Little dagger strokes, just build it up. If you've got any real bright highlights, because there is some little highlights in the hair, we can go in with a Caran d'Ache pencil water base and you can just drop them in afterwards. Just follow the shapes for the hair. That bit will move over and drop into this bit. I just sort of like buzz around the hair and just build it up. Just move on to different pieces. Hair will take quite a while to do because you're very thin paint. Like that. Just do a sort of a blurry pass on the edge of the hairline there. Just make it look a little bit, fog it out a bit. And you just build the hair up like that. Just follow the shapes. Like that. Just get a pass in. That's a bit in there. Just don't aim to go too dark too quick on the hair. Actually, you won't see like layers. You'll just put solid black down, because when you look on the actual image on the hair, there's bits of it you think, well, that's just jet black, but it's not when you look up close. There's them little gradients in it. You've got darker at the back, because that will be in shadow. You can see how thin it is. That's like a lot of passes there to get it to go dark. Like that. This is where you've got to be really good on the point to point on your finishing stroke, like that on your lines. And that's why they always say it's good to practice the lines in your dagger strokes, especially for hair. If you're doing hair like this, you go different ways about it if you're doing sort of the photorealistic hair, because you'll be scratching and erasing. You'll just be dropping the paint down and you do the tools to scratch and put it away. When you do it this way, you've got to be really good on your point to point on your paint, stop starting. I'm going to do a pass with this mix and I'm going to make a darker mix up. I've got a darker Payne's grey, so I'll do some passes with this. I'll do more darken it up. But you get the gist. You just sort of layer it and layer it and layer it and build it up. Right, I'm going to go in with the eraser. I'm just going to knock out some pencil lines that are on there. Now I don't need them. And you will be able to knock the paint back as well. So if you want that little highlight, you will be able to get it. And just punch it out a bit. Like that. You just take that little bit away, just enough. Like that. Just make it pop a little bit. Right. So we've got to go a lot darker. This shadow here has got to go darker. The hair here, probably darker in that eye. You just keep going back over. All the foundations there, you're just now going back over, darkening it up where you need to. Like that. Dagger strokes. That. Right, we've got that piece in. Just go back in with the eraser again and just nib out any pencil lines. Like that. we'll move on to, we're going to come back in on the hair later. Just going to start mapping all this piece out here. This bit of top. A little tone in there. Literally, I'm just going to drop a pass down on this because we can erase out and get them real soft highlights. Just going to go in nice and light on here. To this bit here. Just drop a little bit of paint in. That. Now this sort of like pattern that's on his top, I'm just going to do a little random squiggle for that because it's so intricate. When you look at it blown, I mean I've blown it up on the TV screen, it's just little lines, so I'm just going to create my own little sort of pattern here. As long as it looks something like it, don't beat yourself up on that. It's like a tiny sort of little weird like flowery pattern. It'll all come together once it's all done. Little tone over that dark bit here. I sort of go in on the key points where there's a dark and then work from that. What have we got here? Got a dark drop shadow there, coming down. Like that. There's like a little bit there. There, we've got some darker bit here. Darken that up a bit here. It's going to go darker in here. And that coming down into this bit. Let's drop some paint in. There's a little fill that bit in. Little dark bit here. What we got here? Dark here. Down to a dark there. Let's just drop a bit of paint on that. And in there. Some bit on that. Again, there's a little weird pattern here, so I'm just going to do a random on that. Little squiggles. Just a weird little squiggly pattern. What we got here? That'll do for that bit. Going a bit darker in here. Bit darker there. Bit more paint. Just sort of going around, sort of mapping out, and then you just go over again and over again, like we did this. You go over and over and over, and just keep sort of working it up. It's like the hand in this bit here. I'm literally just going to do a pass over the microphone. Like that. I'm going to put the dots in after with the pen, because it's an easier way of going about it. Just blank that in. Just doing some little dark pass on that. Fingers, just do a pass over the hands. Tint them back. Like that. Just put a bit of paint down. Just keep building it up. Get the paint pen, and I would just do this for the microphone bit. That you'll only beat yourself up trying to get all them little dots down with the airbrush. Let's do a pass. Really could do with going darker to make them highlights pop. As long as it looks like a microphone, job done. More dogs on there. Just darken that out a bit. Just put a little squiggle in for that bit. Like that. And just go back over again. Darkening bits out. Right, move down to this little pattern here. Again, it's a random pattern. So I'm just going to do some little squiggles, dots. For this. Just a rough little pattern. that. Do some of the creases down here. Here. For his top. Hello. A little bit of shading on here. Just sharpen that up with that. And you can just go in and just start darkening off again. Like that. A little bit down his top. A bit there. Darkening bits out. Right, I'm going to change up with the Payne's Grey and put a darker mix in. See, that's coming through darker. Now we can just go back in on the hair. Can really darken this up. Like that. You can see how it just boom, it just sort of makes it pop just by going in now and working that next tone. Dagger strokes again. You've got the bass tone underneath it, and you'll still see them through if you just do the dagger strokes, just build it up. to the hair. Like that. Like that, just change it straight away. And then you can see, once you've dropped that dark in, it's like the eyebrow's got to go darker. So you put little bits in the eyebrow. Like that. Bits on the eye. That. You can go in on the mouth again, darken bits out there. Drop shadow underneath the mouth. Pop that out. Dark under that ear. Sharpen this top up by now going in and dropping a darker drop shadow. Like that. A little bit darker under here. And just work it in your next tone. Get your highlight again. Just do your little dots. Pop the eyes. darker in here. You just start framing things out darker. Like that. Just put the darks where they need to go. Do a bit more dark on there, and I'll just drop some of the dots on that to make it pop a bit. Like that. Bits up. Nose. Like that. A bit darker in here. That. See, you can start going darker here. Once you start looking across, you go, right, I can go darker here, darken a little bit more up here. Sharpen that up a bit. Here. A bit darker on that eye. Like that. Go a little bit darker in there. And just tint it back, to start tinting it back. Like that. So that's how you'll sort of build it up, like that. Just keep adding, nice and light, adding. And you can just bring some highlights out again, pop things back a bit. As I say, if you wanted to do some like where you've got the real sort of strands coming in, you can do that. And just pop a few out with a pencil. Like that. You can work it and work it and work it because you've gone in light. You've not hit it with that straight away. You've just gone in nice and light. And if your pencils look a little bit too bright, just go back in and knock over the top of them. Just sink them back a bit. It's a little bit bright. Like that. Background, I'm just going to do a little pass. In on that. Give it a little bit of colour. Like that. Some little line passes. A bit more paint. Do a lot more work here and start building it up. Now you've gone in that light tone, you can start darkening the creases up, we can start sharpening this up and just work it and work it and work it. Like that. There you go, there's my Elvis. I say we can add more and more. We've got some little light pencil lines. I would work this a lot more here, you know, and just start to pop bits out. But that's how I'd go about it, guys, like that. And for the, like the microphone, you can just start to drop some little dots on it like that. To make that pop out a bit. Give it that look. Little highlights on there. Keep it simple. And you can really just keep tweaking it and tweaking it. Popping all the little highlights out. Brighten the teeth up a bit. If I was really working, I'd really go in and just really bring all the highlights on the top out. Like that. There we go. So there you go, guys. There's a quick Elvis. We could have spent, you can spend a lot more time. You can just see how we worked it in them real light, washed out tone first and went round and then built it up. And then when I changed over to the darker mix on the hair, you just seen the hair just pop forward, which put the darks in. And then you start to work down and start adding that tone where you see them darks. And we could do a lot more work here. We could really detail this bit out next and detail all the hand out. But that gives you a look of how you'll sort of build it up by going light. Keep it light, don't go for that dark straight away, thinking you've got to drop that dark in there straight away. You just sort of build it up and build it up. So I hope you've enjoyed it and picked a little bit up along the way. Give it a go, mix your FW Payne's Grey and thin it out and wash it right out. And then do a couple of mixes, do a darker one and go in with a couple of tones, 2 or 3. You can play around with your paint mixes on how dark you want it and just build your picture up. As I say, don't go in too dark too quick. And that was easy to do. That's just sketching out, you know. Once you've got your paints nice and thin, your brush is going to flow. I mean, didn't even have to go over there and test. I just knew it was going to work. Hardly any tip dry. You'll notice tip dry using ISO in this. You'll just see a little build up on your needle very slightly, and if you go to do a real tight dagger stroke, small little hairline, it'll just look a little bit blurry, and it's like, yeah, you instantly know. Pinch the front, probably pinch the front on that piece 3 times, if that, to get that down, and just build it up. Take your time, build it up. Where you see a sharp, put a sharp. If you need that real sharp edge, use a shield and spray against it to get you that sharp edge. You don't need to do everything sharp, you know. You don't have to mask everything out. You don't have to cut every single little piece out, because there's soft and sharps. It's getting that balance of the soft and sharps together which will make your artwork look better and look a little bit more realistic than having everything cut out, too sharp, everything masked out. It just looks too clinical sharp. Nature isn't like that. You've got sharp edges and soft edges. Just remember that when you paint, and just put them in the right places and just build the tones up. And you see how I went light, and then you're just going over again. You drop the eye in, then you move to another piece, put a piece in, then you look back at that, look at your reference, go, yeah, that does need to go a little bit darker. But if you're working in that light paint mix, you're not going to kill it straight away by going too dark. You can just layer it up, layer it up, layer it up, and then eventually it all just comes together. So I hope you enjoyed it. Drop your comments, tell me your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next monochrome. Cheers.